At $895 for the Amex Platinum and $795 for the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which card actually makes sense in 2025? That's what we're talking about in today's video. I'll walk you through the new changes that were introduced to both of these cards this year. We'll do a side-by-side comparison of the benefits of each of these cards. We'll see how practical the benefits really are to use. And then in the end, we'll see if the annual fees even makes any sense. Let's get into it. 2025 has honestly been a year of massive credit card fee hikes. So let's take American Express Platinum for example. It went up from $695 to $895 now, which is a $200 increase, for which honestly you can get a couple more credit cards with a good sign-up bonus. Similarly, for Chase Sapphire Reserve, the fee went up from $550 to $795, which is again a almost $250 increase. Okay, let's start with the Amex Platinum updates first. Now, the good news with Amex Platinum is that they are not taking away any of the existing perks. So if you like all those clear credits and other things, it's still there for you, and many credit card holders are actually relieved about that. But they did introduce a bunch of new credits that we'll just go over. First up is the hotel credit. So the $200 annual hotel credit that you used to see on the previous version is now replaced by a $300 semi-annual credit, but you will be using it pretty much the same way on Amex Travel, specifically for fine hotels and resorts and the Hotel Collection hotels. Next up is digital entertainment credit, which is also changing from $240 to $300. So that's good news. Now you're going to get it $25 monthly, and the new part is that it also covers new platforms like YouTube Premium and YouTube TV, which is great. There's a brand new Lululemon credit. So annually you're going to get $300, but you will get it quarterly in $75 chunks. You can use it online or in store, but remember you cannot use it at outlets. And another new one is the $400 Resi credit, also getting in $100 quarterly chunks. You will need to pay at a Resi restaurant with your Platinum card. You do not need to book through Resi. But yes, this is a benefit in which you will need to enroll before you can take advantage. So do remember to do that. Just go through your app and complete that enrollment. Then there is another annual credit. This is a $200 annual Aura Ring benefit, but only toward the ring itself. Remember, you cannot cover the membership or subscription cost with this credit. Now, I'm not exactly sure why this is an annual credit, because I'm not sure if people are expected to buy a new ring every year. It doesn't make sense to me, but yes, this is a new credit. Now, quick reminder, most of these credits are actually going to need enrollment. So make sure you quickly head to your app and hit enroll for all the benefits all at once, so you can get it out of the way and start enjoying your benefits. So if you total all of these new benefits, it's going to total about $1,400, which more than makes up for the $200 fee increase if this was something that you like using or you wanted to get into. So something to keep in mind. Now let's look at the Chase Sapphire changes. So in 2025, Chase also added a ton of credits. So there is a $500 annual hotel credit for their collection called The Edit. It's very similar to Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts. It's their curated hotel collection, but this credit is split into $250 semi-annual credit, so you cannot get it all at once. That said, I did want to remind you that this credit is changing in 2026. So come 2026, you will no longer be limited by the semi-annual language. What you can do instead is use these credits one after the other, but you cannot use it for back-to-back reservations. However, there won't be that biannual or semi-annual constraint anymore, which I think is good news. Next up is the StubHub $300 credit for concert and event tickets. This is again split into $250 credits biannually. You'll need to activate it, so definitely make sure you do that on your app or on your Chase account on the web. Then there is $300 DoorDash credits spread across the year as $10 non-restaurant order credits twice a month plus one $5 restaurant credit monthly. Now, I think this is a weird structure of adding these credits, so I don't enjoy that. I have to very actively keep track of these. But yes, this is how it is. Then there is the $300 dining credit. This is also new. It's given to you as $150 every 6 months. Plus, there is an access to Sapphire Reserve exclusive tables that you get on Open Table. And remember that this dining credit is actually not meant for any dining. You have to go through the restaurants that are Chase Sapphire exclusive on Open Table or something like that. Enroll in this benefit before you can take advantage of it. Next up is the Apple TV Plus and Apple Music credit. So you get $250 annually for both these subscriptions. And then there is the $120 Peloton credit, $120 Lyft credit, and a free Dash Pass membership, which I think you already had on Chase Sapphire Reserve. There are also these older benefits that are sticking around. So your $300 travel credit that applies to the broader travel category. So everything falls under it pretty much. And your global entry TSA pre-check credit is also staying. So on paper, if you total everything up, the Chase Sapphire Reserve benefits total to $2,700, which again more than offsets the annual fee of $795. But I will say that you might have to go out of your way to use some of these benefits if you don't already do. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt, I would say. Now let's compare the core benefits or features of the cards side by side, starting with the points earning structure. So with Amex Platinum, similar familiar earning structure, you're getting 5x points when you book flights directly at the airline's website or with Amex Travel. And then all the other purchases, no matter what they are, will get you only 1x point. So the downside to that being this cannot be your daily driver card if you actively try to maximize your points on day-to-day purchases. The Chase Sapphire Reserve, however, is a more versatile card because it gets you 3x points on dining. Again, this is for most of us a big expense month to month. And then you get 5x points on Lyft. This has been brought down from the 10x. You also get 8x points on travel through Chase Travel Portal and 4x points if you book flights and hotels directly with the hotel chain or the flights website. The regular travel has now become 1x. It used to be higher than that. But overall, if you look at the points earning structure here, it's definitely more geared towards day-to-day spend, which is better than the Amex Platinum. So I think Chase Sapphire Reserve wins this category. Now let's talk about lounge access and how that benefit compares across the two cards. So with Amex Platinum, you can go to the Centurion Lounge, but this you can only go by yourself. You cannot bring guests. Then you can also access the Delta Sky Club, again only for yourself, no guests. And you can access Priority Pass where yes, you can bring guests. Now, comparing the same with Chase Sapphire Reserve, where you can actually bring guests even to the Sapphire lounges and the Priority Pass lounges, I think it offers a more generous lounge benefit here. So it's more suited for couples and families who travel together. So I think for the lounge access part, also Chase Sapphire Reserve takes the win. And personally, I also feel that the Sapphire lounges feel much more elevated and the experience is just more refined in a Sapphire lounge. So I would prefer Sapphire lounges to Centurion lounges any day. Now let's talk about the travel credits that are offered on both the cards. Starting with Amex first, you get $200 in Uber cash every year that you get monthly as $15 and then $35 in the month of December. Then you have the $200 airline incidental fee, but since this is an airline incidental fee and not just an airline expense, it's kind of harder to use. And then you have complimentary Clear membership for which you get $209 every year. Compare that to Chase Sapphire Reserve that gets you $300 right off the bat on any kind of travel expense, including, tolls and parking, transit. So I think that is way simpler to use, much more practical, and I find that to be a winner in this category as well. Next, we are talking about hotel credits specifically. So this one is a little tough one because Amex just upped their hotel credit to $600 annually and Chase Sapphire Reserve is at $500 annually. Amex credits are $300 semi-annual, and starting in 2026, Chase Sapphire Reserve actually said that it's not even a semi-annual requirement. They will actually let you use $250 in the same month if you want to, as long as it's not on a back-to-back reservation. And in 2026, they're also introducing another perk, which is their $250 hotel credit with certain specific hotels that I have put on the screen up here. So if these hotels and the edit hotels have an overlap, I think there is potential to actually stack all of these together and take advantage. But I will say that I did a quick search for both American and other countries' properties in both the hotel collections. And Chase Edit actually does not have that big of a list of all these properties. So it won't be as easy for you to take advantage or at least, maximize the credit by taking the cheapest rate. So I am kind of torn between the two here. So let's move on to the next category. And the last one that we are discussing is lifestyle perks. And this is where things start to get a little messy because both of these cards have introduced these things that we don't necessarily use day to day. So let's quickly take a look. So with Amex, you have Lululemon, you have Saks Fifth Avenue, you have Aura, Resi, Walmart Plus, and digital entertainment. I would say that most of these are fine to use. So digital entertainment definitely being at the top is the easiest to use here because most of us have all of these platforms that we stream. Then Resi, I think, has a much wider collection of restaurants and much easier to find in your neighborhood. So I like Resi credit much more than I like the Chase dining credit. And then Saks and Aura are not my favorite because these two are very expensive. So with Saks, you cannot even get free shipping below, I think, $200 or $250 of order. So I don't like that. Walmart Plus, I don't particularly use it a whole lot, but I know some people do. So I like that. And Lululemon, again, I don't shop at Lululemon all that often, but I know since I have the card now and they're offering this credit, so I will. But I wouldn't say that it was a super practical and useful lifestyle perk, in my opinion. Moving on to Chase, you have DoorDash credits, which are structured a little weird. So there are two $10 non-restaurant order credits and one $5 restaurant order credit. I'm not sure why you would want to work so hard to keep track of your credits, but you kind of have to. And then there is StubHub. Again, I find StubHub to be a little more expensive than other ticketing platforms. Then we have Peloton that I don't personally use and cannot really speak a lot to, but maybe it's useful for you. Apple subscriptions are useful, but only if you already subscribe to Apple Plus or you wanted to. So they both have a ton of lifestyle credits, and I'm kind of torn between which one I like the most, but I am leaning more Amex Platinum here because they have more practical credits in my opinion. Now let's talk sign-up bonuses, and this I think is a very, very important consideration for you before you sign up for a new card because these points are really valuable, and if you're paying this much in annual fees, you do want to make sure that you get a lot of return and value. So with Amex, you are getting 175,000 points. But remember that it's not guaranteed. It is a targeted offer, so you will have to kind of hunt for it if you have to get to that point. And even the minimum spend requirement is kind of high. Just something to keep in mind. It may not be that easy to meet. If you look at the public offer, it will usually be around 80,000 points. And I think at that point, it does not really make sense to spend $900. For the Chase Sapphire Reserve, the sign-up bonus right now is 125,000 points across the board. So this is not a targeted offer. You will find 125,000 points. The good news, however, is that if you have a player 2 at home who can refer you, who has a Chase Sapphire Preferred or a Reserve card, they can refer you and they can also make 10,000 or 15,000 points out of that referral. And together you might have 140K points at your disposal. So something that you should definitely look into if you're looking for a new card. And if you don't have a referral link from a player 2, you can consider using my link. I'll drop it in the description box below. If you use my link, please let me know in the comments. I would like to thank you personally. But yes, moving on. If you get the big Amex offer of 175K points, I think the value really starts to show then for the $895 because there are all these amazing credits that you can also use. Same for Chase Sapphire Reserve, I would say 125K can be worth it. But again, please sit down, do the math. Also, kind of try to get the sense of how much dollar value you can get in return for those points that you'll be spending. For example, in my case, I try to redeem my points at a 2 cents per point value more often than not, but it's not always possible. So I don't obsess with cents per point value as much. But just to make sure that I'm squeezing a lot out of it, I try to keep it as high as possible. In my case, I actually have both cards currently because I am able to make sense of both the cards. But I will say that my Amex Platinum card is actually an older card, so I'm still on the older fee of $695. I'll be making that decision next year when the new fee hits. But until then, I'll be holding both the cards. And that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. And if you would like to support my channel, I'll be dropping my referral links in the description box below. Please feel free to check it out. I'll see you in the next one.